Hi, Jeff Munn, Creating Extraordinary Futures. I was talking with a client the other day about the concept of ready, fire, aim. Not ready, aim, fire. That's the way we typically hear of it, but ready, fire, aim. Now, why is this helpful, and why would you ever want to do that? So in battle, and this is hundreds of years ago when when ships were battling each other, they would have these giant cannonballs. And they didn't have many of them. Now, the cannonballs themselves would wreak tremendous destruction. But they didn't have many, so they had to be careful. Bullets they had a lot of. Small, didn't really do much in the way of damage, but they had a lot of them. They were cheap. So the idea was that you would use the bullets to figure out how to align things. Shoot the small, cheap things, find out the answer, get the data, whatever you want to do. You can use this analogy with a lot of things. And then you'd pull out the big guns. So another example of this might be in product development at a company. You might have focus groups or very small, the idea of the minimum viable product, right? The MVP. You put this product out there, you get some reaction, and then if you do 10 of these, maybe one is going to get the interest, and you don't necessarily know because you have the burden of being the expert, right? You have the burden of knowing more than your customer knows. You don't know which one they're going to say, wow, that's fantastic. I've heard stories of, prescription drugs where, the tested purpose, Viagra is the classic example of this. Viagra, they were testing a blood pressure medication, and Viagra lowers blood pressure. And so it didn't work that great as a blood pressure medication, but it had this weird side effect. And they built a business out of the side effect, right? And we all know what the side effect is. So how do you apply this in your world? And I think the way that you apply it in your world is if you're thinking about what's next for you, have a lot of conversations with people who know, who someone who does what it is that you want to do. I remember thinking, oh, I know all these people. I'll have a side business as a recruiter. And I had a conversation with a recruiter friend of mine, and he talked about what was required to really do that well and to do that full time. And I very quickly figured out that wasn't for me. But then there are other things, there are other conversations that you have that you think, wow, that sounds amazing. I want to pursue that more. That would be worth my effort. That would be worth my cannonball, because if you're going to create what's next for you, you're going to need to know this is going to be worth it in the end. And there's no way really to know that, but just being open to the fact that it might not be exactly what you think it is. Be open to the fact of having conversations with people and then taking one step down this path and one step down this path and one step down this path, and then evaluating and seeing, well, how does that feel? Where am I called to take the next step? And then repeating. I think the mistake that most people make is they think that they've got one cannonball and they better be really careful with it. And so they're going to exactly figure out everything that's going to happen with respect to that cannonball. And I'll tell you, I've got so many areas of expertise where and experience where that hasn't worked. I've seen people try to do it in product development. I've seen people try to do that in marketing. I've seen that people try to do that in terms of a business. They have one idea and they're sold on their idea, and they perfect that idea before they talk to a living soul about whether that idea has any merit or any appeal. And then they wonder why they have no customers. They wonder why no one wants to hire them. So ready, fire, aim. Put a few bullets out there. Scattershot this thing. have lots of conversations, explore, have fun. Ready, Fire, Aim is an amazing way to live your life. And I hope you have fun with that. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.